Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR 25 career mode. Hope you all having a great day. Today we take on the Goodyear 400 here from Darlington Raceway as we have the Throwback paint scheme weekend up in the future of, well, I'm not going to be running a Throwback unfortunately, but you'll see several AI drivers running one. We've got some more upgrades coming in. Now we are advancing into level 6 parts on the car for the body, chassis, and engine. Once again, we'll continue the trend of the suspension is being left behind. We can't really afford with the R&D to get the suspension as well right now, but we will have level 6 at least for 3 parts on this car with a level 4 suspension as we come into this Darlington Raceway here from South Carolina now. And drivers to watch: Kyle Larson, William Byron, and Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, always a very strong pick to win when you come to Darlington, but I said the same thing going into Martinsville and he came up short there, so don't be shocked if we see him come up short again this weekend now as we get ready to hit the track here for practice on Saturday early afternoon before qualifying. And right off the bat, even with now a level 6 upgraded car, it's still the same song, different verse in terms of the fact that down the straightaways we really lack some speed, but we make up for that lack of speed down the straightaways into the corners because we can carry so much more speed, especially in turn 3 and 4. And Darlington, really interesting racetrack here in this game. You need to run the top if you're going to be successful, but that makes it challenging because passing, everybody wants to be on the outside. So if you got to pass, well, the fastest lane's the top. How are you supposed to pass? Exactly. It's going to be difficult. Track position is going to be key. If you can maybe get off strategy and get a tire advantage, that's really a possible way to make the inside maybe work and make some passes that way. But yeah, it's not going to be an easy weekend, and we're coming off of what I consider to be the most difficult race of the career mode so far. In Martinsville last episode, it was a pain, but we made it, and we at least got that top 35. Still no sponsor offer, unfortunately, so we're still here with the Technique sponsor, but I am hopeful we can get an offer here in the coming episodes. In terms of practice here, I was overall relatively content with the pace. I expected to be dead last on the leaderboard, and I was. William Byron actually at the top here in practice, as you see the rest of your leaderboard now. Rounding out actually the top 10 was AJ Allmendinger. He's in the bubble for the playoffs currently, but Kyle Larson there in P2, Reddick, Hamlin, Bell, your top 5 over Elliott, Briscoe, Blaney, Busher, and Allmendinger there to round out the top 10. Now it's time for qualifying here as we roll this number 85 Technique Toyota Camry for this Tricon Garage up to its spot to head onto the racetrack. And as we kick off qualifying here with a goal of actually, well, not a goal time, but a sponsor goal of that top 35 now. And on board there on the camera on the right side there, you see me in the Next Level Racing rig. You know I love to shout it out. 5% discount. Use the link down below in the description on Next Level Racing products on their website there with my referral link. Now as we roll through 3 and turn 4, running the middle lane. I should have been higher up on the racetrack, right up against the wall if I wanted to get a better run off the corner, but I felt like it was going to be okay, and it was. We actually qualify P24. You see my reaction. I'm quite happy with that one. So Kyle Larson goes on pole position over his Hendrick teammate of William Byron. All the Joe Gibbs cars just about up there in the top 10 outside of the obvious of Ty Gibbs in 18th, as you see the rest of your order. Through to the bottom of the grid there, it's Cody Ware, JJ Yaley. In last place is Jimmy Johnson. They do Jimmy Johnson's AI a little bit dirty in this game, I think, now, as we get ready to go racing, hitting the grid on Sunday afternoon. Now, you're going to see plenty of throwback paint schemes this weekend. It's going to be absolutely awesome to be racing around those as the gents will fly over. Now that I can't unsee it now, how they beeline it and hook it left and go over the pit lane after coming in at an angle over top of the track. I hope I didn't ruin it for you guys as well. 73 laps of racing though here from this Goodyear 400, and we are ready to go racing here from Darlington, the most difficult oval on earth. The green flag is out. We're racing here from the high banks of Darlington Raceway now, and Carson Hocevar gets a better launch into turn number 1. Kyle Larson leads the field into turn 1 in his Kellogg's number 5, as Michael McDowell as well as Shane Van Gisbergen going to clear us through turns 1 and turn 2 now, and there's the 38 of Zane Smith passing us in that long John Silver's throwback into turn number 3 now, as we start to immediately roll this top lane now and just try to get that exit off of turn 4, and that's what it's all about there, rolling that top, carrying that momentum from the center of the corner to the exit. We got 22 laps of racing in this first and opening stage, so plenty of laps. Is already new leader. Kyle Larson's going to give up the lead to the number 45 of Tyler Reddick now, who takes over the top spot now, as Reddick, of course, is so close to a championship last season in 2024. Made the Final Four after one heck of a way to get in after that pass around the outside of Ryan Blaney at Homestead, Miami on the final lap, and came up short of a championship. He was by far the worst driver in the Final Four, or not the worst driver, but the slowest car. But here we are now. As for ourselves, though, focusing in and struggling here a little bit early on, down to P29, is when you're on the outside of somebody, it's really hard to get into turn 1 without doing that, hitting the wall. So unfortunately, I knocked the wall down, and now we're down to P31 alongside the 35 of Riley Herbst as we head down this back straightaway. So some work to be done, to say the least now, as Noah Gregson as well. And that number 4 is going to look to my inside. I'm trying to peek to the outside of the 35. He's going to shut the door. We would have been 3 wide. But Herbst says absolutely not. He kind of crowded Gregson up in front of me, as we've got another new leader early on in this race, and a crash up ahead now. The 77 of Hocevar has gone around. Cautions out on the early part of this race. Kyle Larson, I guess, had just taken the lead when the yellow came out, and we're all going to come into the pits for 4 tires and feel. We did not pick up any damage there from that contact, but I am going to loosen up the car to 49.5 on the wedge. No tire pressure adjustments, and hopeful that this car frees up a little bit, because it was pretty tight, and that was causing a bit of a struggle for me. We gain 1 position. A bunch of drivers gain a spot, so somebody had a poor pit stop. Not sure exactly who it was. We'll find out, I'm sure, momentarily, as they are probably a fairly fast car, and they're going to be ripping through this order as we're back underway, and it's 10 laps to go in this first and opening stage. Kyle Larson leads us all back to the green flag. It's actually Carson Hocevar. Hocevar had the bad pit stop, so the guy that brought out the caution, I don't know if that's connected or if that's coincidence, but nonetheless, he is, I'm sure, going to be working his way back forward in that Spire number 77 as we pass below the shadow of the Goodyear blimp there, but a contact with the 0-1 of Corey LaJoy as we exit turn 4, and we're down to P34. You know, Martinsville last episode, we talked about how the fact that, you know, we finished 35th, but I felt like we had a top 30 car. Feel like we're running about 34th, 35th right now with the top 30 car once again. So I'm not going to panic, though. It's only stage 1. Plenty of racing to go. Christopher Bell's back out in front now, and Kyle Larson's going to retake the lead. So we're having some good battles up at the front of this pack now, as it's Bell versus Larson now. The 2 dirt drivers, of course, now as we continue to try and fight forward, but now we've been passed by the number 7 of Justin Haley as we exit turn 2, so we're down to now P36 as we head down this back straightaway. So still some work to be done as we head off into turn 3, and Cody Ware is actually looking to my left rear, but we would start to open up a bit of a gap to him and get back into the mix with LaJoy and Ty Dillon, Stenhouse, Cole Custer as well, but we cut the wall on the exit of turn 4, kind of stunting the momentum that we were carrying down this front straightaway. And as we come through turn 1 there, we're able to just get back to the outside. I thought the 10 was about to take it 3 wide, and I was about to brace for impact. I thought we were about to be a part of a bit of a disaster, to say the least, but we're all good now as we go off into turn 3 and just continue to kind of mind our own business, but, you know, kind of claw our way 1 step forward at a time. We got another crash. Around goes, I believe that was the 34 of Todd Gilliland. Cautions out. That's going to end stage 1. Christopher Bell leading at the time of yellow. He will pick up a playoff point, 10 stage points for the stage win. And everybody again is going to come back into the pits for 4 tires, as well as fill it up on field one more time. Really content with the way the car was driving there after the adjustment on the wedge to 49.5, so I decided to kind of keep that the same. I did kind of flirt with changing tire pressures, but I eventually decided not to. Now, it's time for stage 2. Lined up behind the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The green flag's going to come back out, and the second stage is underway here from Darlington. Now we got Todd Gilliland just behind us now. 23 laps of racing in stage 2, so we got one additional lap this time around. And as we head through turn 1, again, slow restart now. Jimmy Johnson, 7-time Cup Series champ, multiple time winner here from Darlington. As we actually clip the outside wall there on the exit of turn 2, Johnson's going to clear us down this back straightaway now as Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson continue their fight for the top spot. Now as I'm going to really get aggressive there, getting to the outside of the number 84, Jimmy Johnson, down this front straightaway. We will be able to clear that 84 and take that 35th position, of course, still where our sponsor goal is. I think we're only, a couple more upgrades away from being able to up that sponsor goal to like top 25s. We got to get to, I feel like, level 7 or level 8 upgrades before we can really do that though, so we're not far away. Yeah, we just need to get a couple more upgrades in this car, and we'll be there. And I feel like the process of getting, higher paying sponsors on this Tricon Garage team will only get better at that point now as we exit turn 4 and we continue going forward here now as we hit lap 6 of 23 in stage 2. And now on the outside into turn 1, you can see how awkward it is getting into the corner because you get really close to the car on your inside and you're trying to avoid contact, but also to try and not wash up the racetrack and hit the wall. So it's really not easy now as we're going to get to the back of the 10 of Ty Dillon, give him a shot forward to allow him to clear that 41 of Cole Custer. And then sure enough, I hit the wall into turn 1 trying to not hit the 41 of Custer, and that absolutely kills my momentum, and we fall back down to 35th behind that 35 Treetop Toyota Camry. Now on to lap 8 though of the stage, you see Herbst passing the 41 of Cole Custer, and I'm going to go to the inside of the 41 as well, and we're going to work on trying to pass him, but on the inside, just can't make it happen. You can see that momentum on the top is just too strong to overcome with the speed of my car. So, I mean, we're locked to this one lane of trying to make it work. Now, if we have a tire advantage, I am certain we can make the bottom work, and we're actually going to go 3 wide in the middle, actually lean on the 10 to Ty Dillon a little bit now, and we are close quarters racing for, what, 33rd, as we'll get back in line behind the 10 into turn 1. Herbst is kind of leading this small little 4-car group that's kind of racing for, 32nd, 33rd, 34th, and 35th now, as we're right to the back of the 10 of Ty Dillon as we continue to scrap this out. And as we come to lap 10, exiting turn 4 of stage 2, a little bit sideways on the exit of the corner, just doing whatever I can, because if I can be to the inside of somebody into turn 1, I know I can pass them. I can pass on the bottom in 1 and 2. It's 3 and 4 that's presenting the challenge. So as long as we clear this 35, barely slide in between him and the 10 of Ty Dillon, who would then clear the 41 of Custer, and now it's my turn to try and pass this 41. He has a poor exit, leaves the door open on the top. Thank you very much. As long as he doesn't get to the inside of Ty Dillon in turn 3, we should be able to pass this 41 as we've got pit stops now underway. Drivers coming in. I see Nemechek. I see as well the 2 of Austin Cindric in that number 2 Throwback. So we're about to hit the pit lane here in a matter of a few laps as we'll clear the 41 into turn 1. And now we're going to get to the left rear of Ty Dillon. Actually, a bit of contact there on the left rear of this 10 as we roll through 1 out of turn 2. Close quarters, sideways up the corner, into the inside wall. Big impact there, and immediately we throw an audible. Let's pit this time because we just destroyed the front of this car. No caution. Let's come in. We're going to take the tires. We're going to get repairs. It's going to be 7 seconds of repairs. Fortunately, we should stay on the lead lap as long as we don't miss the pit lane or anything. It's this very tricky pit lane to get into. Nonetheless, we have completely killed our second stage and the momentum that we had going in our favor. So we're going to come in and we're going to get the 4 tires, but obviously now after these 4 tires go on, we're going to have to wait an additional 7 or so seconds for these repairs to go through. Just a costly error on my part. So it's going to be like a 20 to 21 second pit stop, unfortunately. And you're just waiting. 21, now we're into 22. It almost took 23 seconds to repair the car, unfortunately. So we'll get back out on the track, and we're well behind even the 84 of Jimmy Johnson, and we might go a lap down because of this, actually, because I see who is the net leader of the 45 of Tyler Reddick coming down the back straightaway right now. He will be leading once this green flag cycle is through. We are a lap down. We got fresher tires than him, P1, but we don't have speed. Through comes Kyle Larson in net P2, and now we're hoping we make it to the end of the stage without anybody else going a lap down, because if we do that, we will at least be in the free pass position, which we still are as we come to lap 18, which means it's lap 19. You see Jimmy Johnson up there in front of Reddick, but around goes Kyle Larson in the Kellogg's Throwback. Cautions down to end stage 2. Reddick wins the stage. Thank goodness that happened. Free pass goes to our number 85, and that keeps our chances alive. So a costly mistake put us in a lap down position, but now we're back in it. We'll get the free pass. We'll take 4 tires and field. We actually have Corey LaJoy and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. staying on the racetrack. That is honestly an advantage for us, because they're going to be stacking up the field. Kyle Larson stayed out too. Kyle Larson just crashed and is staying out, so I don't know how much speed he's about to have, but I feel like that is a mistake for the number 5. So it looks like we've had not only Stenhouse and LaJoy stay out, but Kyle Larson and I'm sure a few others as well have remained on the racetrack. We just don't know exactly who. So this is going to create a really interesting dynamic. I can see Tyler Reddick from here. He's behind Corey LaJoy. So there's like 12 cars that have stayed on the racetrack that have elected to not pit. So they're all going to be lacking tires. They absolutely shred at Darlington. This is the most abusive track on tires. They mean everything just about here. Maybe not as much in the next gen era, because now dirty air is kind of the king of keeping cars behind you. But nonetheless, tires are still going to be a big factor in the outcome of this third and final stage. So really going to be interesting to see how this plays out now. But Kyle Larson still leads. He's got a big buffer between him and cars that are as fast as him on fresh tires. So he's going to should be able to hold on to the lead for a fairly decent amount of time. Well, I say that, Christopher Bell looks like one of the drivers that stayed out with him has actually passed him for the lead of this race. So I didn't realize the 20 had stayed out on the racetrack now, as we are now fighting to the inside of the 35 of Riley Herbst. Jimmy Johnson right here in front of us. We will have to make a pit stop in this final stage, so that's going to be something that could make things pretty interesting before this race comes to a conclusion. And you can see this just kind of wasp's nest up there in front of us. Everyone's kind of stacked up on each other, and I'm still struggling. The inside lane just can't pass through turns 3 and 4, but in 1 and 2, it's a completely different scenario now, as Kyle Larson has returned to this lead of the race now. As you got Brad Keselowski back here, you got Ty Gibbs back here, Austin Cindric as well, Ryan Blaney, you can see him just in front of the 2. They're planted directly behind Corey LaJoy, who stayed out on the racetrack, and they have not been able to pass him. Obviously, not a good scenario for those guys now, as we're already coming up towards the final 20 laps of this race, as Ty Gibbs would actually get down to the inside and start ripping forward. Ryan Blaney's trying to get down, but I said, hey, I'm coming through as we exit turn 2, but LaJoy jumps down in front of me, and immediately Ryan Blaney rips past that 0-1, and now here comes Keselowski to the top as well. So now we get planted behind this 0-1, and we're in the losing situation here, as we would jump to his outside now on lap 54 and try to start going forward and pass this 0-1 off into turn number 3. However, you see we're kind of trapped behind the 7. We're going to go 3 wide in the middle between Haley LaJoy on the inside. This is a bit of a risky move, and it's not going to pay off. We've been turned into the inside wall. Down the front straightaway. Caution is out. And I immediately regretted that one. Denny Hamlin had taken the lead, and we bring out the caution. This will allow everybody to make it to the end of the race, but we are going to pit for 4 tires and fuel and repairs. And a couple of races back-to-back not going our way. Martinsville and Darlington. Really just being too aggressive. And I forced the issue, and Corey LaJoy and myself came together. He connected with my left rear. I might have came down a little bit. He might have came up. It doesn't matter. That was just a racing deal. And unfortunately, we end up in the inside wall. And now as we go back green, we got about 15 laps to go. Denny Hamlin is out in front, as he hasn't really been the favorite all day long. But here he is leading now in these closing laps. And we've kind of seen it. You know, in the previous races, if you can kind of take the lead in those closing 15 to 20 laps, you can have a pretty good chance of hanging on. So don't be shocked if Denny Hamlin is able to pull this off against Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell as well, as now I'm looking to the inside of this 34 into turn 1. This should be a pretty easy pass now, especially in turns 1 and 2, and sure enough, we will clear that 34 on the exit of the corner. So thank you very much. We move up into P39 now, but we still need at least a top 35 here as we head down this back straightaway now. And as well, one thing to kind of keep in mind is the fuel situation. When we were pitting, we had one less lap of fuel than there was laps left in the race. So it could be interesting, as some drivers might not quite have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race and still have to pit within the final 2, 3, 4 laps of this race, and that could really spice things up. And I was struggling to move forward. I was just finally passing Jimmy Johnson on lap 66, well under 10 laps to go at this point now, as we're to the back of the 44 of JJ Yaley, and looking for an opportunity to pass him, which would come right here on the exit of turn 4, getting to the inside. Christopher Bell actually is now out in front, no longer the number 11 of Denny Hamlin, as we continue on to just try and get towards that top 35, as it will clear the 44, and now we got to go down, run down Justin Haley as well as the 35 of Riley Herbst. Denny Hamlin actually returns to the lead pretty quickly, however, over Christopher Bell. Now on lap 68 though, right to the back of this 35 of Herbst in this battle right here between him and the 10 of Ty Dillon, the 7 of Justin Haley as well, into turn number 3. Pit stops. Keselowski's coming in. I nearly slammed into the back of the 7, so there we go. We got confirmation. There is some drivers that have to pit. They don't think they can make it, and we got 7 laps of fuel. We got 5 laps to go. It's not even close. We should easily be able to make it, but this is just one of those effects of the pit strategy in this game, not being very intelligent for the AI, and some of them are going to pit before this is over. The number of how many drivers will pit to be determined, but I see some more drivers coming in now as we head down this front straightaway, as I'm looking to the inside of the 7. So now we've broken into the top 35, and we're going to reap the benefits because we know we don't have to pit. And as we roll through the middle lane here on 1 and 2, we'll clear the 7. There we go. Top 30. Denny Hamlin, I really hope he's not going to pit from the lead of this race. I mean, he's got this win, I would think, locked up if he can just hang on a couple more laps here now as we head off into turn 3. Look at the track map. There's still somebody else coming in. It's, I believe, the 21 of Josh Berry. Yes, it is Josh Berry. That puts us into P29. Now, a big run down the front straightaway to the inside of the 51 of Cody Ware. This will be P28. Suddenly, a top 25 is looking possible with just 3 laps to go in this Goodyear 400 Throwback weekend, and with now approaching 2 to go, several drivers are in. McDowell's in, I think Logano I see in as well, and a few others. Hold on, top 25, 24 to the outside of the 41 into turn 1 with 2 laps to go. We clear him for 23rd, right to the back of the Hayek 47, and suddenly we are creeping in on, I think, a career high result. Denny Hamlin staying out, takes the white flag here. If he can hang on, he's made it to the white. No overtime necessary. Into turn number 3, I'm going to drive it deep into the corner, but just can't make anything stick, so we have to slow it down. And here comes Noah Gragson into the pits, and someone else as well. More cars pitting. We're going to be P21 down the front straightaway, and final lap underway. And if we can find a way past Stenhouse, we'll break into the top 20. Denny Hamlin, though, off turn 4, down the front straightaway. Hamlin will win in Darlington, another new winner on the season. To the inside of Stenhouse into turn 3 for the final time. We're going to drive it off in the corner. Slide job up across the nose of the 47. Will take P20 off of turn 4. Finally a top 20 in quite fascinating fashion with pit strategy fumbles from the AI, and we'll take a 20th place result. I am quite happy with that. It doesn't matter how you get it. Denny Hamlin with the win over Kyle Larson and William Byron. Looks like Christopher Bell was one of the drivers that came into the pits. He is nowhere to be seen in the top 10. Top 10 rounded out by Ryan Blaney. Allmendinger in P8. How about AJ Allmendinger with a very respectable effort. Carson Hocevar up there in P12 as well. Shane Van Gisbergen in top 20. And of course the top 20 for us here with this Tricon Garage team. Quite ecstatic with that result, as you see the some drivers that were trapped a lap down from poor pit strategy. Now Jimmy Johnson all the way at the bottom of the grid. We move up into 30th in the standings following today. In the playoff situation right now is Allmendinger jumps up to the last driver in by 3 points over Ryan Preece. Keselowski at 150 points. He's got some work to do. And then Chastain there is in that 15th position. But we have had a new winner in every race this season, putting now 8 drivers in the playoffs. 8 different winners so far. William Byron, however, at the top of the standings over Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Hamlin, and Christopher Bell. That does it for me. I will see you guys in the next one where we take on Bristol. That's going to be a really interesting race guaranteed. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching and have a great day.